starting and growing Biggby Coffee, at what point did you guys understand, okay, intellectual property uh, is important for the lifeblood of the business, and we need to kind of take the necessary steps to protect this?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how we figured that out, but we figured it out pretty early.
Okay.
That differentiating the intellectual property from the operating company was really important,
Yeah.
and that it gives you that in the end it gives you a lot of protection, but also a lot of flexibility too. And so because the asset that's the intellectual property, I mean, it's a big part of what you own when you own a company in the
Yeah.
brand. I mean, remember when all the car companies were going through bankruptcy, Ford just leveraged
IP.
their logo. They
Yep.
just leveraged the logo and said, I don't know how much they borrowed, but and they used it as collateral. And they didn't have to borrow anything from the taxpayers. And so that's how powerful that stuff is, and we set our company up early, differentiating all the intellectual property inside of a separate entity that really has very big wall in between it and the other company.
Yep.
And as long as we don't do anything negligent or inappropriate, the intellectual property is safe
Yep.
from judgments or whatever in the world, legal judgments. I mean,
Right.
and so I that's the way I look at it. So we got that done pretty early, and we've been riding it ever since. I think one of the things that's been really important, and somehow we figured it out, is that being consistent with how you treat your intellectual property
Mm,
makes your intellectual property more valid,
mm.
right? And more powerful.
Yep.
And so we set our company up with this structure where the operating entity paid 10% of its revenue to the company that owns the intellectual property. And we set that up. I mean, I think we set that up in 1998 that way, or maybe 99, so we've been doing it that way a long time, and we've never changed it. And so now it's like, that's just what we value the intellectual property at. And there's a couple other things we do that way too. And so, I think that I know if you're starting a company, like, you're worried about so many different kinds of things, but there's some real simple stuff you can do early that can really help you down the road in terms of having some flexibility around the assets that you have. And I'm sure, like, you deal with a lot of patents and so on, and I mean, that stuff is like crazy powerful. I'm just talking about trademarking is all I'm talking about. Patents is a whole different thing.